So in this section, we will be discussing about a frequency modulated CW radar. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about CW radar. So in this section, we will be discussing about a FM CW radar, which will be able to measure both the range and relative velocity of the target. And we will be also seeing about a simple MTI radar, that is a moving target indicating radar, which with the help of a Doppler frequency shift is going to identify and distinguish between the moving target and the stationary target. Now we will discuss about a frequency modulated CW radar. In last section we have seen about a ordinary CW radar where we could measure the relative velocity of the target, but we was unable to measure the range. Now in this case it is capable of measuring both the parameters, that is both the relative velocity and the range of the target with the expense of bandwidth. Why we have written at the expense of bandwidth? Because in this method we are going to introduce some timing mark into the transmission signal. By introducing the mark, we mean that we should be able to calculate what is the transit time difference, that is the time of transmission and the time of return. It can be calculated. So this will increase the bandwidth. So the spectrum bandwidth is going to increase. But we need to keep a spectrum at a finite level. So how much accurate or how much distinct our mark is, the more and more will be the transmission spectrum. So how do we broaden our spectrum? It can be done with the help of a modulation technique. So here we go for a frequency modulation technique. So here it is done by frequency modulating the carrier, and the timing mark here is a change of frequency. That is, what is the change of frequency between our transmitted signal and our echo signal? If we consider this, we can consider what is the transit time, and this information is used in calculating the range of the target in this particular case. So in this section, we can see about how we are going to measure both the parameters, that is the relative velocity and the range of the target. So if you are considering about the frequency time relationship in CW radar, here we consider that our transmission frequency, it is going to vary linearly with time. As you can see, this solid curve, this is represents our transmission frequency. So we are going to change our transmission frequency linearly with time, which is already known. So this is a transmitter frequency, and say after a particular time period we get back an echo signal. Okay, so the transmission frequency is having a frequency of f0, and after a particular time, that is this time t is denoted by distance 2r divided by the speed, which is the speed of the light, that is c. Okay, so time is equal to 2r divided by c. We get back an echo signal, which is represented by the dashed curve. And the important point to understand here is the difference between this transmitted frequency and the received frequency is denoted by the beat frequency denoted by FB. Okay, so FB is a beat frequency which is given by the difference between the transmitted frequency and the echo signal frequency. And always the modulation, it cannot be linear. There has to be a periodicity in modulation, that is a frequency cannot go increasing only in one direction. So for obtaining the periodicity in modulation, it can be a triangular modulation, or it necessarily need not be triangular, it can be sawtooth or any other shape. Now for example, we have shown a triangular modulation, that is here we can say the transmission frequency, it is being modulated here linearly in a triangular manner with a modulation frequency of FM. So the time is given as 1 by FM, and here delta F indicates the difference between the maximum frequency and minimum frequency. So the solid curve represents the transmission signal, and the dashed line represents the echo signal which we are going to receive after a particular time period t of 2r divided by c. And here this is a particular beat frequency, that is a difference in frequency between the transmitted signal and the received echo signal is shown here in this particular C diagram. So these are the frequency time relationship in CW radar. Now in the last slide we have seen about the figures, that is for a linear modulation and triangular modulation. Now the echo signal is actually being heterodyne with a portion of a transmitter signal in case of a radar, so that a beat note frequency of FB will be produced. That is, we are actually using some information from the transmitter signal to be introduced into the receiver as a reference signal. Then only we are getting the information about this beat note frequency. Now, if there is no Doppler frequency shift, then what will happen? That is, if suppose our target, it is going to be a stationary target, both the beat frequency and the range frequency, they are going to be the one and the same. That is, FB and FR, both are going to be equal. That is, whatever frequency is existing, it is due to the target. Okay, so in that case, we can write FB to be equal to FR, and if the rate of the change of carrier frequency is say F0, so the carrier frequency, if you are going for linear modulation, it is going to increase linearly with time. So how in that case we can represent the beat frequency? The beat frequency and the range frequency, if we assume it to be equal, FB and FR to be equal, we can write it as F0 into T for linear modulation, where T can be replaced by 2R by C, where 2R is the distance and C is the speed. So FR can be denoted as 2R by C into F0. And we have also seen the case for a example case for triangular modulation. It can be sinusoidal, sawtooth modulations, etc. So if the frequency is modulated, say at a rate of modulation frequency FM over a range of say delta F, then we can write the expression for beat frequency or the range frequency to be equal to 2R by C 2FM into delta F. That is 4R FM delta F divided by C. So whether it be linear modulation or triangular modulation, whichever modulation, what we understand from this particular expression is that this expression for the beat frequency itself is telling us about the range of the target. So in this particular method, by using frequency modulated CW radar, we get the information about the range of the target. Now we will see the block diagram of FMCW radar. So in the earlier slide we have seen that the measurement of our beat frequency was going to give the range information of the target. Now obviously it is a frequency modulated radar, so we will be having a frequency modulation. The transmitted signal is being modulated in frequency, and what do we have in the receiver here? First of all, it is a heterodyne type of receiver, and in the mixer we are going to mix two things. That is, here we are having some of the signal which is coming from the transmitting antenna. It is going to act as a reference signal at the receiver side. So in the transmitted antenna, some of it only will be hitting the target and coming back to the receiver side. Okay, so at the receiver, again whatever signal it is being received and some of the signal from the transmitter side, it is going to get mixed in a mixer. And what will be the output of the mixer? It will be the information of a beat frequency. Okay, since it is a frequency modulated radar, the output of the mixer, it will be the information of the beat frequency. And what is meant by beat frequency? It will be obviously the difference between the transmitted signal frequency and the echo signal frequency. That is what you mean by beat frequency. And this beat frequency, it will be containing the information that is regarding the Doppler frequency as well as the range frequency. Okay, so this output of the mixer, it will be having a very small amplitude. The amplitude has to be made higher, so that is why we are going for an amplifier. So since the output is very low, we have to amplify it. Further, there are limiter circuits, that is in order to remove any fluctuations in the amplitude. And finally, we should be able to have a reading of frequency, that is frequency counter and a indicating device. So this information of the frequency, that is about the beat frequency, it will contain both the Doppler frequency as well as the range frequency. So both of it has to be identified at the final output part. So this is a general block diagram of a FMCW radar. Now one thing to understand is that in the previous slides, our target, it was stationary. Now if a target is in motion, we have to continue to consider about our Doppler frequency shift. Now this shows a spectra of received signals. In first case, the amplitude and the frequency for a stationary target. So there is no Doppler shift, and the transmitted and the received echo signal, they will be having almost the same frequency. Now in the second case, if the target is an approaching target, that is it is approaching to the radar, then the shift in the frequency, it will be towards the positive side, or the Doppler frequency shift, it will be positive. And in the receding target, that is if a target is moving away from the radar, then the shift in the frequency will be towards the negative side, or FD will be having a negative value. That is, if F0 is a transmitting frequency here and FD indicates a Doppler frequency shift. We have already seen about the concept of what is a Doppler frequency in the previous section. Now, if our target is not stationary, then obviously we have to consider about the Doppler frequency shift. So, in the earlier diagrams, that is the frequency time plot diagram, we have considered a stationary target. Now we consider if a moving target is present, then obviously we consider about a Doppler frequency shift, and what will happen, it will cause the frequency time plot of the echo signal to be shifted up or down. Okay, so suppose we are having the solid line to be represented by the transmitted signal, and here the dotted line represents a received back echo signal. What will happen in the frequency time plot of the echo signal? It will be causing the echo signal frequency either to shift up or down. That is, in one portion of the frequency modulation cycle, the beat frequency is increased by the Doppler shift, while on the other portion it is decreased. For example, say when you are observing, when the frequency time plot of the echo signal, it is in the linearly increasing positively. Okay, so in that case, what happened? Your beat frequency, which is the difference between the transmitted frequency and the received frequency. So the beat frequency in that case, it will be increased by a Doppler shift. Okay, so in that case, we are having a beat up frequency, which will be given by the difference between the range frequency and the Doppler frequency. And in the other portion, where in the frequency time plot it is decreasing, then we are getting a beat down frequency. Okay, so in the beat down frequency can be expressed as a sum of range frequency and Doppler frequency. So in one portion, the beat frequency, we can say it is getting increased by the Doppler shift. That is, in beat up frequency, it is getting increased with the Doppler frequency. So it can be expressed as Fr minus Ft. And beat down frequency in the other portion, that is in the decreasing portion, which will be expressed as a sum of range frequency and the Doppler frequency. So we have seen the case when our target was stationary, our beat frequency and range frequency both was equal. But now if the target is moving, we have a beat up frequency and a beat down frequency, and our range frequency can now be obtained by averaging these two values, that is a beat up frequency and the beat down frequency. So that is how you get the range frequency in this case, and one half of the difference between the frequencies, it will be yielding the Doppler frequency. Okay, so this is a case when we are having a single target, we can do this computation. But if there is more than one target, then the range to each of the target, it can be measured by measuring the individual frequency components by using a bank of narrow band filters. That is, in the receiver side, the equipments, they are going to become more costly and more complicated. We require a set of filters to see about each and every of them. Okay, since we are having more than one target. So if the targets are again moving, the task of measuring the range again becomes more and more complicated. Okay, so if there is more than one target and if it is moving, it becomes more complicated. So with the help of frequency modulated radar, CW radar, we have seen that we could measure both the relative velocity as well as the range. From the information of range frequency, we got the inference about the range, and from the information about the Doppler frequency, we got the information about the relative velocity of the target. Thus, in this section, we have discussed on about how by use FMCW radar, we could measure both the range and relative velocity of the target, one for the stationary case and other for the moving case. Okay, it is not stationary, the target will be continuously moving. Now again in this section we can see about the basics of MTI radar, that is a moving target indicator radar. So this type, it is going to use the principle of Doppler frequency shift in pulsed radar. Then we could determine the relative velocity of the target. That is, information from the Doppler frequency shift will obviously give the information of relative velocity of the target. So here we are going to employ a pulsed radar which utilizes the Doppler frequency shift as a mean for discriminating the moving and the stationary target. Okay, so it is called as a MTI or a pulsed Doppler radar. Such type, they are necessity in high quality air surveillance radar which operate in the presence of clutter. That is, it operates in a high noisy environment. So all these unwanted signals from the stationary objects, they are being referred to as clutter, and its design is more challenging than that of a simple pulse radar or a simple CW radar. Now here a CW radar is converted into pulsed radar with the help of a pulse modulator and a power amplifier. That is, it turns the amplifier on and off for the purpose of generating transmitting pulses. Now the thing we have to note in this case, that is a difference in between such a type of a pulsed radar and an ordinary pulse radar was that in ordinary pulse radar, the reference signal, it was generated from a local oscillator. That is, we had a super heterodyne receiver and the local oscillator signal gave the reference signal. But here, the local oscillator is not going to give the reference signal. Some portion from the transmitted signal itself is acting like a reference signal to the receiver, and this is a type of coherent MTI radar. Okay, in coherent we mean that the phase of the transmitting signal, it is going to be preserved in the reference signal. The phase is not going to change. That is what you mean by coherence. Okay, so we can see about the distinguishing features of such a MTI radar. So the difference between the simple pulse radar and the pulse Doppler radar is that in the pulse Doppler radar, the reference signal at the receiver is derived from the transmitter, whereas in simple pulse, it is obtained from a local oscillator. Okay, and the reference signal acts as a coherent reference. That is, it is needed to detect the Doppler frequency shift. So here we are going to detect the frequency shift or the Doppler frequency shift. Here in the coherence, the phase of the transmitted signal is preserved in the reference signal. Now operation, let the CW oscillator signal be represented to be A1 sine of 2 pi FTT, and the reference signal which is given to the receiver side, let it be represented as A2 sine of 2 pi FTT. Here the phase is being preserved. Now the Doppler shifted echo signal, it can be represented as such. So this is how generally we represent a echo signal in case of a radar. That is, here the sign of the first component, it can be positive or negative depending upon whether the target is moving away from the radar or it is moving towards the radar. We get this component 2 pi into ft plus or minus ft into t minus, and this component it will be 2r by c, that is a distance by speed, into 2 pi ft. Okay, so it will be giving 4 pi ft r naught by c. So this is a general format for echo signal in radar, and the reference signal and the target signal, they are being heterodyned in a mixer. So we have to remember that the output will be what? The difference signal, which will be the Doppler frequency. Okay, so the difference signal is now expressed as A4 sine of 2 pi f dt minus 4 pi f t r naught by c. So the difference of the output of the mixer, it will be indicating the Doppler frequency, and in case of stationary objects or target, this value, that is a V difference value, it will be a constant. Whereas in the case of moving objects, it will go on changing. Okay, so the voltages mentioned above are shown in the diagram below. So here whatever voltage values we have written, we have also shown in the block diagram. That is the input which is coming, say here, from the transmitting, that is oscillator, and the reference signal, and this is heterodyne, and in the output we get the Doppler frequency. Now, when we are observing the output on any type of radar display, commonly employed type of display is a scope system. It is going to indicate the amplitude versus the range. So, when we are having such a type of MTI radar, we could be able to distinguish by looking at the display whether it is a moving target or a stationary target. That is, the echoes from the fixed target, they are going to remain constant throughout, but the echoes from the moving targets, they are going to vary in amplitude from sweep to sweep at a rate corresponding to the Doppler frequency. So when we go on to continuously observe these echoes, the superposition of all these successive A-scope sweeps, as shown, we can see the figure. So it will finally produce a butterfly effect on the A-scope. Okay, so it is not appropriate for display on the PPI, which is another type of display. So now we will see the effect on the A-scope. So if you are having a A-scope display, as you can see, there is what a difference in the echo signal each time when it receives. So when we are having, say, a superposition of such, that is a echo amplitude as a function of time is represented here, amplitude versus time, and the final figure, that is a F, shows a superposition of many sweeps, and the arrows, they are indicating the position of the moving targets. Okay, so when we are considering the A-scope display, we can say that if the target is continuously, it is going to move, the superposition will give what, a type of a butterfly figure in the A-scope display. Although the butterfly effect which we have seen is suitable for the A-scope type of display, that is, as the time passes, the continuous echoes which we will be getting from the moving target will produce a butterfly effect, and from that we could get the information about the moving target. It is suitable to extract the Doppler information in case of A-scope. But in case of a PPI, that is a plan position indicator scope, it is not suitable. Okay, so in such cases, we have to employ a delay line canceller. So the one method commonly employed to extract the Doppler information in a form suitable for display on the PPI scope is with the delay line canceller. So in PPI scope, usually we plot in polar coordinates, that is the information of range and azimuth angle in polar coordinates. So in such cases, we cannot have the information as in A-scope. So we go for a delay line canceller. Okay, so in delay line canceller, we divide the video portion, that is the incoming video information, into two channels. One is a normal channel, and in the other channel we provide a delay. Okay, this delay, it will be equal to the reciprocal of the pulse repetition frequency, and then it will be given to the subtractor circuit. Okay, so the input now which is coming in the subtractor circuit, one will be the original one and other one will be facing a delay. Now in the case of a stationary target, okay, in case of a stationary target, all the pulses, they are not going to vary, that is all the echo signals, they will not be having any variations in their amplitudes. Okay, so when you subtract them, the output will become a 0. But in case of a moving target, the subtraction circuit, it will going to yield a output. It will yield a unequal residue. Okay, so that is how we distinguish here the moving target from the stationary target. And the output of this subtractor circuit, again it will be a bipolar video, same as that of what? The input, bipolar video. So before it is being going to display to the PPI indicating device, it has to be converted into a unipolar form with the help of a full wave rectifier. That is the need of a full wave rectifier so that it can be properly displayed. So this is how we distinguish the moving target from the stationary target in case of a display like a PPI scope. So the delay line canceller, it is going to act like a filter to eliminate the DC component of the fixed target and it pass the AC components of the moving targets. Okay, so in this section we have discussed about the MTI radar, the basic concept of a MTI radar. But usually we employ the MTI with the power transmitter, that is power transmitter amplifier, power oscillator, and also we have got a non-coherent type of MTI radar. So all those we will be discussing in the next section.